got Uncle Randall. Here comes. Have you guys ever, real quick, this is the last thing I'm going to say. It's like 2 sentences. Have you guys ever seen the like horror movie of Rumpelstiltskin?
No.
It's like an 80, like Leprechaun-esque horror movie. And there's just this great scene where he's like chasing down the family that he's after. And he's like, he's on a motorcycle and he's like, here comes Uncle Rumple.
Uncle Rumple.
It's one of my favorite moments in a movie that I've ever seen.
Were you watching on Sunday after like American Gladiators or something? That's when I picture a movie like that coming on.
We actually rented it at my friend's cottage in Canada. We would always just like rent cheesy movies. We were like his graduation party, and we would rent like old horror movies that sounds pretty cheesy.
Good. That sounds pretty
good. And it was
actually
great. I want to say that my friend Josh, even when we picked up like might have even been on VHS, but I think DVD. But when he picked it up, I'm pretty sure he even like pitched it to us in hand as like Uncle Rumple, like just as like a joke. So I because we died when he said, "Here comes Uncle Rumple."
Yeah,
maybe I'm misremembering that. Sometimes you just like make up these memories that are more memorable.
Yeah,
but I feel like that happened, man. We laughed so hard. It was great.
That's pretty good.
But anyways, Uncle Rumple time. All right,
Uncle
you guys
Rumple.
ready?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, at the exact hour mark, we're ready to record. Next time, we'll get to it faster, I promise.
We will take no longer than 50 minutes.
Yeah, we'll scale it. We'll be reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. This is episode 11. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nolery.
Hey everybody.
And DJ Mandolini.
Hello.
And how are you all doing tonight?
Awesome.
Doing swell, Kevin.
Swell
Kevin. Swole Kevin. That's like, that's how my body feels right now.
That's
not
right.
in a good way.
Tough
like,
guy way.
Yeah, swollen, like in a shitty, herniarized way.
More swollen than anything. Yeah.
Yes, swollen.
Like
yes.
the full swollen, yeah.
But thankfully, because I have been laid up pretty much, apart from going to work, I've had a ton of time to play some video games this week. And it sounds like you guys have been a little busier, or at least Randy in particular has been a little busy this week. So I can pull some weight here.
You can excuse Randy, but you can't excuse me. I've just been a piece of shit.
You've been pulling weights. That's kind of the theme you're going with, the whole swole thing again. So that's good.
They call me the swollenator.
Yeah,
we've got a theme for the
episode 11, the first Schwarzenegger impression. That's good.
I apologize, but DJ and I will just jump right in. We played a demo on the Switch, which is something that kind of goes. I forget about it often, a lot or frequently, is that you can play a lot of games on the Switch, and one of the ways that you can, or play a lot of demos on the Switch. Sorry. And the game that we played was Lethal League Blaze, and I found this because it was a new release, and I was just checking it out, and then I saw it said download demo. It looked pretty cool. It had like a cell shaded kind of jet grind radio style, visual style to it. And there's some cool looking characters like an alligator and I don't know, just people like this robot that skateboards and a baseball player. But before I get into the game too much, back to that demo thing I was mentioning is like you can go to the eShop on the Switch and then go up to the very top, the little like magnifying search bar, and then go to the advanced search filters at the bottom. Once you're on that screen, I think it's at the bottom right. And then you can go and there's like a list of different filters you can select, and you can just go to games with demos, check that off. And you can also go to games on sale, check that off. And then you can either filter them by price or release date or new to old, high to low, or just like best sellers and stuff. So instead of just getting like those thumbnail, 3 to a row, you can kind of get a list format, or like, especially for the sales, it's great to see like, hey, this game's on sale for like $1.
Yeah. The sort high to low stuff in particular is quite useful.
Yeah, but especially
Or
for
low to
demos
high.
too, it's
Yeah.
but it's cool for demos too to like see like, hey, these like pretty new games have demos. Like,
Right.
I don't know, I just like demos are like a thing I kind of associate with like the PlayStation, like original PlayStation. Like I had demo discs, and I don't even remember where we got those from.
Pizza Hut.
I know they came with like magazines and Pizza Hut or whatever, but I just remember playing demos on there, and like I never have been much of a PC gamer or a computer gamer at all. So I know that there's more demos, it seems, on that platform or those platforms, it seems.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you used that demo filter for the Switch? Like, how many?
There's quite a few. There's like a couple hundred at least, like 200-300.
Oh shit! Okay.
Wow,
I think
that's a lot
I
more than
might be
expected.
misspeaking, but there's quite a few.
I was expecting like a dozen.
No, there's quite a few.
Yeah, there's
quite a
definitely more
few.
than that.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and like I said, some newer games than expected. So, but anyways, back to Lethal League Blaze. DJ, this is a strictly, or I don't know if there's strictly multiplayer. I think there is like some single player arcade modes to it, but it's kind of like a fighting. Like it's up to 4 players, and it seems like there's like some team modes, like 2v2. We were just playing 1v1. It seems like there's modes that are involve like scoring goals as opposed to like doing damage to one another, but it's kind of like a 2D, like, side scrolling perspectives, Street Fighter-esque deal, fighting game, but you're hitting a baseball back and forth. I know we played, I think there's a demo for this game as well. It's like Ultra Space Battle Brawl or something like that.
Yeah, I played that
kind of like
demo, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 2D, like more pixel art style instead of that cell shaded style.
Right.
But kind of like a pixel art, like baseball, like, or Pong, 2D Pong thing, like Twist on Pong.
Right.
And this is sort of similar, but it's like, it gets way more, well, I guess I didn't play that demo, but this game just, Lethal League Blaze, that is, gets super frantic, and like you can hit the ball, you can do like a bunt, which you can kind of like tap it up in the air and then hit it again to get more momentum to your next shot, and the momentum keeps building up, and it just keeps bouncing off the wall, I think indefinitely.
Yeah, it's like if they'll keep bouncing, and if you're the last person to hit the ball, it'll never hurt you, so it's up to the person who hasn't hit it. Like, they have to find a way to hit it, or else they're not going to be able to kill you at all.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to take the risk.
Yeah, you're basically invincible if you're the one that hit it last. And I don't know how it works if you have teams, but you're invincible to the ball. It won't hit you if you're the one who hit it last until the other player hits it back at
but
you.
Even if you were the person who hit it last, you can keep hitting it to speed it up to keep
so you can just keep
over the
banking
other
it against the wall and like get it to just go, like, you can, and I mean, we're talking like the speed gets nuts.
But you're not scoring goals. You're just hitting the
you're hitting each other. Yeah. And
Yeah.
You have like, you're trying to get 5 KOs at least on like the standard settings. This just had 2 characters and just like the standard multiplayer mode. And this does have online multiplayer on the Switch. I don't know if it's cross-platform or whatever, but I think it is available on at least Steam, and again, probably other platforms too eventually, if not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was just like, I mean, if I had more occasion to play multiplayer games, I would have bought it right on the spot. Like we were just like, holy shit, this game is so fun. Like we were instantly like, not yelling and screaming, but kinda, just like, oh shit, because you have to get the 5 KOs, but you also, like, after each KO, the person who wins keeps the health that they had, so you're like, you never like fully recharge. So like it helps if someone's like just a little better than you, they can't like hold that edge of like, oh, they're gonna beat you most of the individual battles,
right?
You can kind of play catch up like that, but
you won't get swept.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's just, it's really a lot of fun. And you can kind of do like you can do a double jump. And when you do like the jump attack, like an attack while you're in midair.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to like the Turtles in Time attack. Not the one that's like the diagonal, like kick, but when you do like that kind of floaty jump.
Oh, okay.
That kind of, you're like swatting your weapon downward.
So not like the beat 'em up jump kick, but more like like you're jumping in the air and kind of like a, yeah,
it's like to hit enemies that are in the air, not to necessarily move to the ground and knock them down. But you are kind of like swinging downwards in this particular instance. But you can like crush the ball downwards and like really get it, like that really gets the speed going super fast. Like,
nice.
I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's really hard to deflect it back, and you can hit it back regularly, you can bunt it, or you can then set yourself up. You can also set the other player up, but you can also like catch it and like throw the ball back, and it kind of throws off the timing a little bit.
Okay.
Like, because you catch it and hold it for like a split second. So like if you're really getting into the rhythm of how the speed's picking up, if somebody does that real quick, it can kind of throw off the timing and maybe catch you off guard.
Oh, that's kind of reminds me of Windjammers a little bit, as far as like throwing the momentum off. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't played much of that. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't played much of those games, but they are pretty fun.
Yeah.
The little bit that I have. But yeah, I would say it is $20. So for me, like I said, it was a little bit tough to pull the trigger on right in the moment.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the instance to play, especially a lot of like 4-player multiplayer. But this one will definitely be on my radar for either a sale in the future or potentially just snagging if like, you know, if I'm having a group of friends over or something and it's just the right kind of mood and it seems like, hey, we all want to play a game. Like sometimes $20 for like a real fun time for one evening.
It's still worth it.
You know, it's like I spend more on that on ordering a pizza.
Definitely.
So it's not out of the question, you know. So it'll definitely be on my like wish list and radar for the future here.
That's awesome.
How do you feel, DJ?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, like, controls are really simple, but it's still just very addicting. Like, and we could just keep going on and on with that.
Nice.
Yeah, I could have played. Yeah, we tried to set up a stream. Did we end up streaming it at all? I don't think we did.
No, you got a couple recordings, but we didn't. It didn't
like work. Yeah, I was like testing out a new setup, and I hadn't had it fully figured out yet, so we didn't quite do that. But yeah,
I mean, definitely down to get some streams up in the future. Like,
yeah, I'll get this game eventually. We'll come back to this at some point in the future. I have a feeling.
Sounds like there was enough in the demo to get a pretty good impression. Then that's
I would say
check that out.
Enough to like know if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah.
I would say. So definitely worth checking out the demo section on the Switch. So I'm gonna definitely fire that up after we. I'm gonna definitely say definitely a bunch more times.
Definitely,
but I'm gonna fire that up after we finish up recording here and see if there's any demos that have slipped past my radar.
That's awesome.
But speaking of another game, I'm just gonna go into another one real quick if you guys don't mind. But this game also has a demo, I believe. It's Miles and Kilo. Which is a 2D side-scrolling platformer, which is pretty much all I played this week.
Very unusual.
And I think you played this as well, Randall. So we can both kind of tag team this one.
Yeah.
I ended up actually beating it.
Nice.
Or at least not getting all the unlockables and perfect scores, but it's essentially like I think it was originally a mobile game, and it's an auto runner, or at least it doesn't default to that, but you can turn it on in the settings. So I imagine it was maybe designed as that.
Right. I can see that.
But it feels pretty good to play as a non-auto runner, although I end up inevitably just sprinting, just like I do in Mario games, just sprinting as quickly as I can. I will adjust my stride if I have to, but pretty much sprinting right, start to finish. But it's just really well designed, some great chiptune music.
Very good upbeat, music. I really like the music and the sound. The sound effects and the soundtrack, I think, were pretty well designed for this game.
Yeah, and it's so colorful. Like it almost reminds me of like crayons, like color, something colored in with crayons.
Yeah,
a color
really book, chunky pixels. It just looks good on the TV.
But it looks like. Have you gotten to any of the levels where you're like surfing?
Yeah,
or anything? I know I posted a little video of
yesterday.
The water looks awesome. Like I really like the sense of depth that it has. Like it almost looks like 3D. There's like this like little. It's not like an extra layer that's scrolling or anything, but just this like layer of like a different color in the front, like a lighter blue.
Yeah.
That just like makes it looks like you're like surfing like further into the background of the water. Like it looks really cool.
I like how it feels too when you first go on the water. There's a sense of buoyancy there. So they definitely put some work in.
Yeah, you actually when you there's some of the later levels that when you're on the water, so you can't swim in the game,
right?
But when you hit the water, if you jump immediately as you touch the water, you can skip across the water.
Yeah,
and you can just keep doing that infinitely or indefinitely.
Oh, really?
So there are some levels that are actually designed around that, like to get the coins that you can collect. So there's like different. Each level has a set number. I don't think it's a like 20 on each level or anything. It's just a varying number of coins. But
right.
And you collect them all. You can get all of those. You can get you have fruit that you can throw. It kind of plays and looks a little like Adventure Island.
Very much so. There's definitely a lot of Adventure Island influence in this game.
Yeah, and you're like collecting the fruit, not for health, but actually for your ammo, for like projectiles.
And if you'd want to end levels with all 5 fruit if you can, because that's also how you help achieve an S rank.
And you can have level. Up to only there's some. It seems most levels have tons of fruit for you to collect, although they do seem to lay some of them out where like for you to have 5 fruit at the end of the level, like you have to you have to definitely choose to like dodge some enemies instead of killing them with the fruit, and then like collect the very last 3.
Yep, hit
or
some
else
moves.
You have no chance. Yeah.
Yep.
And it just like it's just another one of those good, well tuned. It's a little tad bit slippery on the controls, but nothing crazy. Like you get used to it immediately. Like after a level or 2, I felt pretty in tune with the way it feels.
I had a little bit of a learning curve with that whole like you have to. Kind of like when you're playing like Mario 3 or Mario World, where you have to do the jump and attack button at the same time. Kind of have to have your thumb over both of them to kind of do that bounce maneuver. That took me a little bit to get used to.
Me too.
And I felt like there were some cheap deaths that kind of threw me off. Like the stupid, like you want to run and it feels good. We're going to get back to a Sonic conversation, but you want to run and it feels good. But then like the game penalizes you for auto running and the monkey hits you with the coconut. Like,
well, you got to time the jump you got to jump over the coconut, man. I mean, these levels are all like, 30 seconds to a minute maximum. And there's, I think, like 35 some levels. So it's not a very long game. I think it took me about 2.5 hours to beat or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, I do know what you mean. And I did have a little trouble getting used to that bounce as well. Although we didn't even mention so you play as Miles as like the human character, and then Kilo is like your dog.
Yeah.
And you, when you're playing as Kilo on some of the levels, you're kind of forced into like, it's almost like a minecart or like not a minecart, but those sections you're a forced auto runner.
Right.
You can't control the direction or momentum or anything.
Right.
But you can do like an attack very much like they've added into a lot of the 3D Sonic games.
Yep.
And definitely, I think it was in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, I want to say.
Yeah.
But that like homing mechanic where you jump and can then once you're in the air, you can then attack an enemy and it like shows like a cursor, like a red, target.
Yep.
On the enemies. And I really like how that feels. Again, once
too.
you get used to the bouncing off the enemies and stuff. And how you have to hold it down to land some further jumps and stuff like that. But
it felt more natural to me with Kilo, though, to be honest, to do some of those things. I don't know why.
I guess because you're already kind of hitting it to jump and then hit the. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
It's more
why.
in stride. I don't know. Like just like the momentum of it felt better to me.
Because I was forgetting, like when I was playing as Miles, I was forgetting to throw fruit sometimes because I was so focused on the jumping. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I could throw projectiles.
Right.
So I guess I see what you're saying. So like when you're throwing the projectiles, you kind of forget that you can like midair. Yeah, hold down B after when you're focusing on trying to hit enemies while you're jumping.
Yeah.
So
I do wish that this game would have taken from Adventure Island the ability to take like one hit. I was a little frustrated that like you can't like one hit and you're dead and you're restarting the level. I like in Adventure Island, if you get like an upgrade or a helper dinosaur or whatever, that takes a hit for you and you can continue on. And that's just
so you don't start with that, but you can get those in the level, kind of like Yoshi or something.
In the later Adventure Island games, you can actually kind of bank those a la like Super Mario Brothers 3. And then start with a power up that will take a hit for you. So that's kind of how I played those.
I will say, I mean, again, this isn't like a crazy difficult platformer, but it's definitely pretty tough.
Yeah.
But again, for me at least, the short level length and the quick restart.
Yeah, definitely
each level and stuff didn't bother me. The one hit deaths. I feel like if the game would have probably been a little too easy, they would have had to maybe pad out the levels a little bit more. For me, because I felt again I beat the game in probably about 2 hours.
Yeah,
2-3 hours. So
yeah, they go for all S rankings.
No, I didn't. I did get it on a good handful of levels, probably a dozen of them or so, 10 levels.
Yeah.
And I guess worth mentioning too is like the humor and stuff is very minimal story, but there's just little cutscenes. But I've really appreciated what's there.
Yeah.
I chuckled that almost every little cutscene was worthy of a chuckle. And yeah, just little, I don't know, just the way it's written is pretty sharp, pretty cheeky.
It's nice. It's kind of like a kid's cartoon or whatever. The intro one I felt like was a little long, but other than that, the ones that they intersperse after boss battles between the worlds, I thought were pretty good, actually.
There's boss battles?
Yeah. Yeah, there's boss battles, and they work them in pretty cool that they work out, and they'll even a lot of them, like the first boss battle you have, spoiler alert, the first boss battle you have, you take on you're using the kilo mechanics, which you're kind of like being pulled behind the leash or by the leash behind the dog. And the next battle, like, you know, your Miles is like, oh, let's go get him. And he's just like, nah, he just like goes woof woof. And he's like, all right, I'll take care of this guy. Or whatever. I can't remember the exact banter, but you know, they kind of like argue about, okay, it's your turn. I did the last three.
Right.
So it's kind of funny. Like, yeah, it's not all just that humor, but I mean, it's just, it made me smile. I was feeling good the whole time I was playing it, between the music and the upbeat, just cheerful enemy graphics, and it's just real detailed pixels, and it's really, I really am looking forward. I know this this developer also, I think it's a one man developer. He also did a game called Kid Trip. Which is also, I think that is strictly an auto runner. I could be wrong about that, but I know that one for sure was designed as one.
Okay.
And that one's even a little bit cheaper. This game's only $8 normally on the eShop, Miles and Kilo, and I got it on sale for even cheaper than that.
Yeah.
But I would still not be even the slightest bit disappointed if I paid $8 for it.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's worth that. It's a nice game to just fire up on the Switch and play a few levels in a very short amount of time and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, and they do have leaderboards, and I think there is some kind of like the leaderboards are like for like beating the whole game in one, like it's just for like a time.
Yeah,
you know, for how long
I do kind of wish I could see our ranks, like compare friend, ranks or something without having it be the time attack mode. I didn't mess around with that. I think for me, the only list that I appeared on was like, I think they just have it also just the total number of completions. Okay.
Which, because I beat the game, I had one.
Right.
But that's the only other tally for leaderboards other than that time score. But I might go through and try that again.
Yeah.
Because I had a good time. It feels great, and it's one that simple enough I might fire up. If you play on the go a lot, I'd definitely recommend this.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely that type of game.
Yeah, but I've been gabbing for a while, typical me. But anybody else been playing anything cool this week?
Well, I've been pretty quiet, so I guess I should balance it out and talk a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think last week I was saying how I had gotten to the point in the Messenger where I could finally, go between the two different graphical styles.
Oh, yeah.
And from there, I just blazed through the rest of this game. The platforming is way, way better. And I don't know, it's a nice challenge that I wasn't expecting. Like, I guess my initial impression of this game was that it would be more like focused on the combat aspect in a way.
Yeah.
More like Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah. And probably just because the character design is very similar.
Oh yeah.
But man, some of these platforming puzzles have been really sweet, and also they came out with that Picnic Panic update recently.
Yeah,
I think right after we recorded. Yeah, which added like a couple extra stages. Like they start off with like kind of this surfing section, which is unlike anything they've done the rest of the game. So kind of a nice fresh thing to just toss in, be like, oh, okay, like this is like a substantial new thing that they've put in.
It was very Battletoads-esque, similar to that like jet ski or whatever section. DJ showed me. I didn't play any, but he just showed me a little.
Oh, even in like Shinobi 3, there's that surfing section too.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
I've never played any of those Shinobi games.
Shinobi
other than
3
like
is
real
badass.
Briefly. Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. But I'd say this game is maybe like 12-ish hours. I mean, I think I was trying to do 100% completion, and
wow,
I'm amazed I was able to, because I was just like, I'm such a fucking idiot on some of these puzzles. But no, like I had a really great time with it, and I actually went back and did New Game Plus version, and actually last night just beat that.
Jeez.
But the New Game Plus is nice because you start off with like a lot of the items that you get later on in the game in like the normal version. So like I was already like zip lining or like hook shotting and wingsuiting my way through the levels early on. And
do you feel like the early levels kind of accommodate that? Like, did they design that in mind?
I think so. I mean, cool. It was just really easy to breeze on by, and
yeah,
I knew where the collectibles were going to be, and because I had already gotten them in the normal version,
right.
It registered that I got them in the New Game Plus version. So
oh wow,
just like so I just need to pretty much just follow the main quest of the game.
That actually sounds great, because a lot of times that's what deters me from replaying a game, is like, I don't want to go sit there, especially like a Zelda game or something. Like, oh, I gotta basically sit through 2 hours of, trying to actually, like, I've thought about restarting Twilight Princess, not in a long time, but
yeah,
like I gotta sit through 2 hours of basically tutorialization before I'm gonna actually be playing that game. So like, if I can just start with like, I can just breeze through these early chunks with all the extra abilities I get.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
And like you can skip through any cutscenes, and there's some sections that aren't cutscenes, but there's a lot of dialogue. But you can just keep mashing A and get through them pretty quickly. The story doesn't change from New Game to New Game Plus. But yeah, like I completed New Game Plus in half the time that my normal game was. So
that 12-hour count was not New Game and New Game and New Game Plus, just regular.
That was just my normal.
Okay,
the first.
So
run.
Damn. Okay, so you got good chunk of time out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was anything where like maybe I was paused for a while or something weird, but I think like 12-ish sounds right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a lot of game.
I wouldn't be able to complete something quicker than that. I'm not that good.
Yeah, I was impressed too with the little bit that I saw of you playing, like the puzzle platforming and stuff that was going on. Maybe puzzle might be a little bit too strong to say. I didn't see it, or maybe I didn't see enough of that. But like
that comes more into play with like with the collectibles, I'd say, which I wasn't showing you because I'd already gotten them.
Okay, but yeah, just that jumping mechanic of like how you get an extra jump for every single time if you do an attack and land the attack on either an enemy, or like they have just some kind of placed
objects like lanterns and
like kind of like Castlevania looking lanterns,
or even an enemy's projectile. That's like an upgrade you can buy. You strike their projectiles, it then gives you a jump. So
wow,
that's I used in that clip. I think I posted on Twitter with that dragon fight.
Yeah,
I had to bounce off his projectiles to get to him.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really cool. That clip almost sold me on, because they do have the game on sale right now for I think 33% off.
Okay.
With this new update, so that Picnic Panic update DLC. So yeah, I might end up snagging this, man. You keep talking about it, and I keep thinking about it. So we'll see.
They also teased like they tease another update, but it
like at the end of the.
Yeah, I mean, but like they do in a cute way where like the shopkeeper's like, or someone's like, oh, like, is there going to be more to this or something? And the shopkeeper's like, that's not up to me. So it makes it seem like, if there's like the public interest to, get more to this game. That's how I interpreted it.
That's cool.
So potential for more, or maybe just a sequel. I don't know.
Cool.
I'd love either.
Nice.
Yeah, at this point,
or just to see whatever they do next. Yeah, whatever this team does next. Did we mention the developer? Do you happen to know the developer? I know it's from Devolver Digital. No worries.
I wish I did.
We know it. Sometimes we know it. Sometimes we don't. That's just how we roll here.
Sabotage Studio.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks,
here
Randall.
for.
Look at that. Somebody's connected. Awesome. Anything more to add to the messenger, DJ?
Great soundtrack that you can find on Spotify, both the like 8-bit version and the 16-bit version. So,
oh wow,
I love that. That's always like our like addition to any other thoughts. Like, oh, the music, the soundtrack.
It's important.
It's like we always like mention it as if it's like an afterthought, but that's definitely not the case with some of these games. Like you mentioned, like you're firing them up on Spotify, like just to listen to them. So, definitely recommend just
Rainbow Dragon Eyes is the artist for whoever.
All one word, right?
All one word.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've been playing. Well, I don't know.
What have you been playing, Kevin? Tell me.
You can't tease us with
I feel like I've been talking.
Obviously, you've been playing something, Kevin.
I feel like I've been talking too much, but you know what? I have 2 more to go through, so I'm just gonna. Let's get one more out of the way here.
Let's do it.
But I've been playing another platformer that is surprisingly good. And I don't mean, that sounds shitty.
Compliment.
Yeah, that sounds shitty, but it's like it's a game that I picked up on sale. It's a game I picked up on sale for $1.25.
Yeah,
and its normal price is $5.
Yeah,
and it has like definitely a mobile kind of look.
Yeah,
it's called MagiCat or MagiCat. I think it's MagiCat, but all one word, and the C is like used for both the end of magic and the beginning of cat.
That's cute.
Capital C. So yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Yes.
But it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer. Like I said, that's what I've been playing all week. But there's I think they said there's like something like 65 or 64 levels.
Wow.
And there's a boss battle at the end of each level. And there is there's like an overworld map that looks like not as detailed, but pretty cool, like similar, reminiscent to like Super Mario World or Super Mario 3, more like Super Mario World where everything's all connected.
Nice.
But you can get like weapons or like items on the overworld map in shops, like a hammer that you can destroy projectiles with like a limited resource that you collect or that you earn with points. I haven't fully figured out how that works. But there's usually like 3 sections of each level where there's like a checkpoint that you can you collect this like magic potions throughout the levels and coins and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But the magic potions you collect, you can use 10 of them at any of the checkpoints to set the checkpoint for yourself. Or you can do like a dash maneuver like in midair or on the ground, but just kind of dash. Pretty long, decent dash to like either clear a gap or just, get out of the way of a projectile or enemy or something.
Wow.
But that uses just one, and every like vial of the like blue magic or whatever that you get gives you 3, I think, like 3 to your magic pool.
Yeah.
And then you use 1 every time you use that dash. So sometimes they'll have these like collectibles. There's like 3 collectible coins or whatever on each level, gems on each level that like, I don't know 100% for sure if you have to dash to get some of these, because definitely when you collect some, that you get like a no dash bonus to your points when you collect it.
Okay.
But they lay it out in a way that like, you gotta kind of I love my risk reward. Like, do I want to use up my dashes to like clear this section easily and not set the checkpoint here and save it, but then save it for the checkpoint right before the boss? They're relatively generous. Like, you can definitely set all the checkpoints and do a few dashes throughout the level. But I'm wondering if maybe you get some more abilities. I've only played about 2 hours of this game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only, in comparison with Miles and Kilo, I beat the game in about 2 hours. I think this game says I'm at like 5% or something like that. Oh my
gosh.
And I've put about 2 hours in. So, I mean, I'm really liking it. It's got some really clever, like it's action heavy on the platforming for the most part. Like you're dodging enemies and projectiles and all kinds of stuff. But there's definitely some puzzle platforming going on, especially to get those gems. Pretty clever puzzles as well. Like, you definitely have to slow down and like use your brain for a second. And then the boss battles are pretty cool too. Like, they can be pretty varied, and like most of them will just like keep spewing out minions at you, and you just have to figure out how to avoid them. And some of them you can defeat the minions and clear them out of the way. Some of them you can't. And you can jump on enemies, and you can also like shoot this like paw projectile.
Okay.
That just like you have like an infinite pool of those, I guess. You can just keep shooting. It shoots out like a small arc, like essentially straight ahead of you, but like a small arc. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, my only real gripe is like the visual variety. Like, there's some good variety there in the sense of like there's a bunch of different like zones, and the overworld map has like a bunch of different zones. But those zones have like the levels look different-ish, but like the tile sets are kind of plain looking. The enemies are all really like similar looking. There's a lot of variety in the enemies. You know, there's like enemies that are like the gray enemies that have like these little bunny ears on them.
Okay.
You like when you jump on them, you bounce pretty high, or like there's like these green and red enemies later that like the green ones, when you kill them, they shoot like projectiles out in 4 directions, like up, down, left, and right. And then the other color, when you shoot them, they shoot out in like the 4 diagonal directions. And you kind of have to use those sometimes to even solve puzzles like, I have to shoot this enemy that's going to shoot this projectile off to the left and then keep jumping on this like pulley system. Like there'll be like a little like thing in the way that you have to keep jumping on to keep like moving this platform out of the way with this pulley to let this projectile hit a brick so that you can crawl under a gap and collect a gem. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, sweet. So you can use the enemy's projectile to like solve a puzzle.
Yeah, a lot of times you have to. Yeah, at least to collect the gems, not necessarily to progress in the levels themselves always. But I really have been shocking. Yeah, I didn't mean to like underhandedly compliment this game at the beginning, because other than like the small gripe, like it's still really charming. Like the pixel art's really, it looks nice and everything. It's just a little plain. But again, I think this might be another one of those games that's just made by one or a really small team. And it's cool, like the little cutscenes and dialogue and stuff are all like if it's, your character's a cat. And when you're talking to a bird, it's all just like meow, meow, meow and caw, caw, or whatever they say. But there's like their cutscenes are just literally like 2 little speech bubbles of that. And that's it. So it's kind of funny. It doesn't even mess with that, but it looks nice. It's, your little cat with a wizard hat and a cape.
How long are these levels?
I would say there's no timer on them or anything like the miles and kilo ones, but I would say, 3 to 5 minutes each.
Damn,
little
like
longer. And like
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and some of them are like I'm dying on them and starting over, or like setting, getting the checkpoints set. And when you set the checkpoint, you recover to full health. You can take 4 hits. Like it's definitely not an easy game. I'm taking some deaths for sure. But yeah, definitely recommended at either the $1.25 price that I paid for it or the $5 price tag. Again, I would not have. It caught my eye because I saw it on sale. I otherwise wouldn't have even been aware of this game.
Right.
But again, I wouldn't have been mad to have paid $5 for it. It's got really tight controls. It's a good platformer.
Nice.
Out of curiosity, how's the music?
Yeah, that's another falls under the bland category. In this case, I guess I kind of left it off the table semi-intentionally.
Oh, this is awkward then.
But no, not intentionally. Like I just hadn't even given it a thought. It was kind of similar to the visuals in that regard. Like just kind of, it's not bad, but it's definitely a game that I was throwing on a podcast or some music or something in the background.
Right.
While I played.
It's more about the gameplay itself.
Yeah. It's like just cutesy, upbeat, feel good music, but it's not. Yeah, nothing overly impressive. But yeah, I've got one more game that I've been playing, but I'll save that for a little bit later.
A little plug, a little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser for a few minutes later. But I guess
so they can make it through the slog of the game that I want to talk.
Well, I guess who wants to go next?
I want to go next, and it's not a slog. I'm actually really excited about it.
Dang it!
Yeah, you've been hyping this up for a while. If you're going to talk about what I think you're going to talk about,
I'm going to talk about Marble It Up, which I think is an amazing game. If I can just lead with that. It's a game that came out kind of end of last year, and there just aren't a lot of games like this anymore. Marble It Up is kind of similar to like Super Monkey Ball or Marble Madness if you played that back in the day on like NES or Master System.
Or arcade. We played that for a couple games when DJ and I were at the arcade for his birthday.
Oh, that's sweet. It has that like roller ball on the arcade
trackball,
version.
Man.
Yeah,
I wish they would make something like that for this game. That would be so awesome.
That would be awesome. Although you could make that work. I mean, the big difference between this game and those games, besides the power-up stuff, is that you can just jump. Your marble can jump where you can't in those games.
Okay.
But that wouldn't be that hard to just add another button on the side and just roll with the trackball with one hand. That'd be sweet, actually. I want that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I did hear that they're bringing a Super Monkey Ball game to the Switch.
They
as
are,
well,
yeah.
although,
Banana Blitz, the Wii game.
Yeah, I was going to say it's unfortunate that it's like a remake of the Wii game, I think. Yeah, Banana Blitz.
Yep.
Which I was hoping it would be one of the GameCube games. I loved Super Monkey Ball 2.
Oh, yeah.
Just played the shit out of that with some friends. But
the original and 2 are both phenomenal games. Although Banana Blitz is fine. Tina and I, when we were first dating, played the shit out of that game, and it's good. It has some flaws, but most of those were tied to the motion controls, I think.
I was just going to say, I wonder how much of that was just like people just shitting on Wii games to be, I don't know, above them, I guess.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to play with tilt controls, which I would rather play this with a joystick as well, but like, whatever. If you give me the options, I don't care. And I don't know if the Wii version had the options, but
I don't remember that it might not have, which I think I definitely played it with motion, and Monkey Ball being as hard as it is, all these type of games being as hard as they are, you want precision in your control, and hard to come by with that original version of the Wii remote.
yeah
But that's a tangent for another time, I suppose. But the precision of Marble It Up is key. This game is difficult, but in a really fun, addictive way. When it launched, there's 40 levels, but they've added 2 10-level expansion packs for free.
Oh, sweet.
Which is awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. And just the polish on this game is great. Like it's not necessarily like now 60 levels is plenty worth it. I think when it came out, some of the reviews were a little mixed because people thought there wasn't quite enough content, because if you're good enough at it and you get an aptitude for the controls and what it's asking of you, you can beat a given level as it were in, like, I don't know, 15 seconds, just like roll to the end type of thing. But besides just beating a level, there's, it's basically a time attack game at its core. Like, how fast can you get there? Can you get there grabbing all 3 gems or however many gems there are in a given level? And what I've loved doing is just watching replays. This game lets you watch any replay on like the online world leaderboards of like the top people. You can download their replay, watch to see what the hell they did to beat this level. It took me 30 seconds. It's only taking them 10 seconds. How the hell did they do that? Oh, they bounced off this, and then they got going really fast and end up in the goal. So that stuff I love. And it has that pick up and play replayability. You can play against your own ghost, kind of like Mario Kart or those type of games, which is a lot of fun, I think.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. There's these, I mentioned these like power ups you can get in the level. So there's like an air boost that you can grab that looks like an up arrow, that then once you have that equipped, you just hit Y, and besides your regular jump, it just like shoots you up in the air, kind of like a turbo jump, which is helpful to kind of skip through parts of the level. There's a speed boost that once you again hit that Y button, you can only have one at a time. But once you hit that Y button, it kind of shoots you forward really quickly, which is good and bad. You definitely have to have a hang of the controls before you get using that too much. You can slow down time so that like your in-game timer kind of goes at like half speed at most. So it's counting less against you for the time you finish the level in. It has good implementation of like HD Rumble, which is a pretty rare thing for the Switch. So I'll give it credit for that too.
That could be cool in a game like that too. It sounds cool. Yeah, like you could feel if the marble itself feels like tactile.
Totally,
that could be pretty cool.
And that's what it feels like. It's like it's not something you even actively think about. It's so well implemented. It just has a really good feel to it. It's a $20 game, so it's not that cheap for a download only. But I bought it for that, and I'm happy that I did, even when it was only 40 levels, let alone the 60 that it is now. So
yeah,
and it's smooth.
Go ahead.
It's just buttery smooth, like 60 frames per second. It's like all the levels have like a good sheen to them. You know exactly what you need to do. There's like anti-gravity sections and stuff like that. So they do a lot to like switch it up and kind of give you different challenges. And there's friend leaderboards too. So yeah, I wish that you guys would pick this up so we could play against each other, honestly.
Well, knowing that there's leaderboards and stuff, what do you mean against each other? Does it actually have online play, or would that just be stacking up our scores?
Just stacking up our scores and our times in completing levels, but there's definitely an addictive nature to that alone.
Yeah. Oh, I get hooked on that stuff a lot.
Although they are talking, like in their press kit thing, they talk about a free multiplayer expansion. I don't know that they've added that yet, although I haven't checked any of that out. So there might be more to come with that if not there already. So yeah,
awesome. Yeah, and there's a really cool, like, you've been hyping up this game, like I said before, for like, I don't know, as long as you've had it, I guess,
since September 2018.
But yeah, I remember checking out some videos or some clips of something that you had posted, or I can't remember, retweeted or wherever I saw it.
Yeah.
But like, so really great sense of speed in this game. Like,
definitely.
You can really, or momentum, I guess I should say, but you can really get going at a pretty high speed, it seemed. At least these clips sort of like these high level players you were talking about that are beating levels in like 10 seconds or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just doing these crazy jumps over these corners and cutting, these crazy turns and stuff. But it looked really cool. It definitely piqued my interest when I checked it out.
It's a really fun game to watch replays of, for sure. There's this guy, C Murder, on Twitter, who's just like insane at this game. And every time I see something from him, I just sit and watch the clip of him, because it's going to be another just nuts world record. It's just one of those games.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty compelling. I'm definitely interested in checking it out, especially one of the reasons I had this game kind of on the back burner was like, man, especially with so many ports coming to the Switch.
Right.
I'm like, man, you know what? They're probably going to bring a Monkey Ball collection or something like that out to the Switch eventually.
Yeah.
And now that I know it's a remake of the Wii one that is not, or of Banana Blitz, which again is not a bad game or anything, but it's not like this is a classic, or this is all of the games rolled into one.
Right.
This $20 price tag, on a more indie experience seems a little more enticing.
Totally. Yeah. And you can customize it with your own marble. Well, not your own marble, but there's like 100 marbles that you can unlock. So you can get
cool.
a silly, dumb one that fits your style. So yes, I wholeheartedly recommend this one to anybody that has any passing interest in Monkey Ball or Marble Madness, like I said, or if this sounds at all interesting to you.
Cool.
It's good stuff.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I know that you mentioned there's not a ton of multiplayer there, but with other than the leaderboards. But I know, DJ, you've been diving into some online
transition.
There we go.
I know you've been diving into a couple online multiplayer games this week.
Yeah, I mean, after playing The Messenger, I kind of I don't know. I was in a multiplayer mood. I kind of wanted to stick with what I was familiar with, and
mindless mode.
Man.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of multiplayer. I think I was a big like Warcraft 3 junkie.
Oh yeah.
Played a decent amount of like Call of Duty with my friends in college and StarCraft 2, and so it's been a while since I've done some multiplayer stuff. So did some more of Uncharted Lost Legacy. Man, I just suck at that
game. You used to be good. I was going to mention, we used to play Uncharted back in the day, which we talked about last week. You used to be pretty good when we played Uncharted 3.
So I feel like I don't think I'm actually good at shooters, because I think my aim always sucks. I think I strongly rely on out strategizing and outflanking the other team.
Yeah.
But it's, if I ever get caught in a firefight with someone, it's just why bother? Just let me just throw a grenade at my feet and end it.
Here comes Marlowe.
Yeah. But I did recently discover that with the online for Lost Legacy, which is also the same for Uncharted 4, there is a classic mode, which is back to how the old Uncharted's were, without some of the things that this new one introduced,
which I think you talked about, right? The down
states and all the different types of gear you can have. It's just no, you just have a grenade. You don't have these med packs that'll revive your teammates if they're down. It's back to basics. So definitely want to check that out. Once I feel defeated enough with the normal version that I'm playing.
That's cool that they offer that. I mean, that's always the risk of splitting the player base and not having enough people to play.
Right.
But I think with a game or a series like Uncharted, especially if they're lumping in this, hey, we have this whole separate game that's lumped into the same online game. I think there's less of a risk, when you have something that popular.
For sure.
But But yeah, that's cool that they offer that, because I even though everything that you mentioned, the additions and the changes sound interesting and cool, I did have a great time playing Uncharted 3 online. So like if I ended up being disappointed in that or just not quite vibing with the changes, it's cool to know I can just go back.
Yeah, you definitely have to adjust your strategy. Like the fact that people can be revived, oh man, there's just so many times where like I feel like, I'm wiping out this team. It's just like, no, they just all got revived and now I'm dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been a fun time. Like I've just been playing, like matches are like 10-ish minutes.
Okay.
So
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's just really nice if I just have an hour or something. It's just like, I don't want to like try to wrap my head around something new. I just want to game and be competitive and
right.
Turn
your brain off for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Try to feel like I'm good at something. I'm really bad at like if I get on a losing streak, like I can't end on a loss. Like Kevin knows this. That's why we have trouble playing games together sometimes, just because.
Yeah, I don't know if you're ready to transition into Rocket League yet, or if you were going to talk.
Yeah,
but I was just going to say we don't have to transition into it necessarily, but we were playing Rocket League together the other night, and like we lost like. I don't. Maybe we won one game out of like 7 or 8. But we might not have even won one. We lost like bad. 7 or 8 in a row.
Would you guys start at like 2 a.m. or something?
No, it was. We hung out a different day. It wasn't after the podcast. We hung out a different day.
Yeah.
And we were just like, let's play a few games. And I played so shitty. I was like, all right, I was like, if we don't win this game, this is my last one. DJ's like, no, we can't end on this. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm done if we lose this game. And we lost, and I'm like, I'm done. He's like, sign me into your account. I'm playing another game. I can't. And they won the game that, of course, I guess I'm the weakest link here. But he, of course, won the next game. He's like, okay, I played pretty good. I can end on that note. But like, I have a little bit of that in me. But like, when I just like it, when it just feels off, I can just turn it off and say, you know what, I'm just not good at Rocket League
today's
today.
not the
my
day.
shot's off. My shot's off.
That's always just been really hard for me. Like I remember. Like back in the day, again, Warcraft 3, like as a teenager, I'm just being so upset if I had like a bad run, and like I just couldn't, like it ruined my mood the rest of the night until like I went to bed.
And those matches last a lot longer than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, even when we used to play Super Mario Strikers back in the day, like I could feel it in the air, like, DJ is fucking pissed, man. Like he is.
Oh, he's not
gonna talk to us for a week, man.
It's because I'm good at game.
And then then he I don't know if you picked up Strikers or borrowed it from somebody, but you just somehow
borrowed it from one of you guys.
You somehow just got amazing at it, and then no one ever wanted to play it with you anymore because no one can win.
Who's your go-to Strikers character, DJ?
I mean, in all Nintendo games, it's Luigi, so
that's fair.
He picks the robot squad like a cheapskate now. The all special team. But no, that's just funny. Yeah, I definitely have a competitive side to me, but I also, like, when I'm just not in the zone or not feeling it, I'm just like, same thing with some of these like really tough like roguelite games. Enter the Gungeon, like I play a run or two that I die real quick and like, yep, today I'm just I'm not in the zone, I'm not in the right headspace or whatever it is.
Yeah. I guess I have been more self-aware of like the effect that has on me, and it maybe is part of the reason why I have been playing less multiplayer games lately.
Yeah.
Just knowing like, this is just going to piss me off. I'd rather live in ignorance, pretend I'm good at stuff.
Just keep beating these games.
Yeah. So Uncharted, Rocket League, those are what I've been playing lately.
I didn't mean to cut the Uncharted conversation short if you had more to say about that. That's oh man. Yeah, but I'm kind of excited. I want to check out the Uncharted online, and I should just go back. I picked up a few PS4 games recently that were on sale for real cheap, and I typically use my PS4 mostly to just like watch Star Trek and wrestling, like I've mentioned before on the podcast. But or at least mentioned at some point mention that. But I've picked up a few games and just have been thinking of my PlayStation 4 as more of a gaming system again. And,
wild.
Might want to dust it off and play a little Uncharted 4. See if I can get past that opening 8-chapter introduction.
just go online with me. Definitely enjoy it a lot more with an actual friend.
Yeah, we should try it out. Now that we can do a pretty easy Skype setup, or at least now, I've never used Skype before doing this podcast, so I now that I feel pretty confident with it, yeah, we should try it out.
Heck yeah.
Or I guess there's this voice chat on the PlayStation, so we could just do that too. So cool. Hell yeah. Well, I've been playing one other game this week, which I mentioned briefly before, and I'm not going to talk about it too much because I have a feeling I'm just going to keep playing it. It's got its hooks into me much like Moonlighter did, which I talked about kind of early on in the podcast here.
Right.
But it's a 2D side-scrolling roguelite platformer called Eagle Island. And this is from the developer Pixel Nix, and that's like the name Nick, not like Nix.
Okay.
With a, I guess, pluralized Nick.
Multiple Nicks.
But it's a 2D, yeah, like I said, it has a little bit of a light Metroidvania element. I did a stream of this game earlier, just a few runs of one of the stages. It has like a light Metroidvania element to it in the overworld, like you're platforming around and getting a few new abilities and stuff that you can access new levels from. But that's kind of the only thing that's set in stone, and then everything, once you get into the levels, everything's procedurally generated, at least if you play on the standard. Like if you just go through the mode, and there's a ton of different settings in this game, but if you just go through and hit play and start game and whatever, you'll start with that being kind of the basic setting. So the game itself is not a huge Metroidvania. I wouldn't like say that's the genre or anything, but each level has some light exploration and some secrets hidden away. But and the overworld, like I said, you're unlocking as you go with new abilities. But overall, it's more like just kind of like a platformer that's based on the mechanics, the combat mechanics. And this is like you start the game with your two little owl buddies, and you get attacked by this eagle, like the head eagle of this island or whatever, this monster eagle that plagues this island. And he takes one of your owl buddies away. And so now you're left with just the one. And so you can attack with your owl, and you can hold down the attack button and then attack in any of the like kind of 8 directions. So again, up, down, left, right, and any diagonal.
Nice.
And what's cool about this is like, so there's like a cooldown on it that like, so when you throw the owl out, and you can throw it out decently far, not all the way across the screen or anything, but decently far. And once you throw the owl, there's like a little bit of a cooldown, but when you hit an enemy, the cooldown is instantaneous. So once you hit an enemy, you can then throw it again immediately at another enemy. And you can also do this well in midair. So when you jump, you can hold down the attack button, and you get about a second and a half where you're suspended in midair, where you can like then aim and hold it down and aim in the direction you want to aim. And you don't have to like be midair to keep these combos going. It's all about just timing it. And then each level you're picking up different perks. You collect seeds and coins, and the seeds unlock different chests that give you perks. And the coins you can then use in the little like shop areas and checkpoint areas.
What are some of the perks?
There's tons of different perks. Like you get like normally the controls are a little bit slippery. They take a little getting used to, even more so than Miles and Kilo. It feels good once you get the hang of it, but like you can't really like in midair, you can't like be jumping to the right and then tweak it back to the left. Like you really have a sense of momentum,
right?
Even when you're running, like when you turn around, you like kind of take a second to change directions. Not a second, a full second, but it takes a split second. But you get like one of the perks is like you can have up to 4 at least. Maybe you can even upgrade that. I don't know, but you can have up to 4. One of them is just like you have an extra hit point, which you start with only 3, and you could get a 4th. Or you have like a double jump, but not a normal double jump. It's like when you land, you can jump again, and you do this like huge spring jump, and you can just keep chaining that like every time you land on the ground, kind of like Mario's triple jump if you do that perfect timing.
Mario 64.
Yeah, or you can like when you're hanging off a ledge, you normally just kind of like vault up it, but you can like get an ability that lets you do like a normal jump when you're hanging off the ledge, or you can get a wall jump perk. or you can get a perk that extends the combo timer, so like you get a little bit longer of a window for your combo to keep going. Wow. And that just like resets every time you kill an enemy. Or there's like a compass perk, or a there's just a shit ton of perks. Like your owl, Koji, I think is the owl's name, and your character's name is Quill. And you get like, you can throw the owl faster, or you get it does double damage, or there's tons of different perks, and you can swap those out. And they seem to like, I don't know if they're on a timer or if they're on like a number of uses thing, because every time you use it, you can see it flash up at the top, but they disappear after either a point in time or after you've used it a bunch of times. Like some of them are explicit, like open 3 chests for free, like you don't have to spend any of your seeds, and it'll have a little 3 next to it, so you see that countdown. But some of them don't say anything like that, but they just disappear after a while. So I haven't fully figured that out yet. I'm only on the second like level. But it's really, really fun, and it's just it caught my eye strictly because of the pixel art, and just
really, the pixel art is beautiful. I'm looking at screenshots right now. It's like, wow.
Yeah, really detailed, and it's got a bunch of different filters. Like you can do the CRT stuff, you can smooth it out, and it almost makes it look like Spelunky. Like it doesn't even look like pixelated. It's weird. Or you can do like a smoothed, like it just makes it almost, I don't know why they call it smoothing. It almost makes it look more blurry to me.
Yeah.
But they have that, and they have a bunch of different accessibility options and UI settings, and it's cool. There's like, I said I was only going to talk about this game a little bit, but I guess I'm just going to go into it. But there's like gates that are locked off by like how many enemies you've killed on that stage.
Okay.
So you have to kill like, at least 11 enemies to access this point, or and each stage has like a little kind of like puzzle, not puzzle necessarily, but like a little like hidden coin chest that you have to unlock. But that will take up one of your perk slots, but you have to take it to the end of the stage to keep it. So then in that case, if you want to get that collectible, you can only have 3 different perk upgrades, and again, you can swap those out, but you can't, once you swap it out, you've just trashed the other item. Like you don't have it in your bag or something that you can swap out later.
Some more like risk reward there.
Yeah. But there's some cool, it just feels good to move around. The combat mechanics are just really cool and interesting. And after I beat the first level, I got a new ability that I can swap out. It looks like there's 4 different, they call them feathers, that you get, that now I have like this like lightning owl, like it turns my owl character green. And then if I hit an enemy, it'll just like keep chaining through it. So if there's like a string of enemies that are in a line, it'll just go straight through all of them. So you can like potentially get some nice combos set up.
Nice.
Although they don't typically, like the enemies have some kind of sporadic movements, some of them. The flying enemies. There's a good enemy variety. Again, pixels are looking nice. I'll be talking about this game some more next week, I'm sure, but I'm having fun. And I think I mentioned already, I did a stream earlier today, so that's on our Twitch channel. If you just want to see like I did like 30-40 minutes of gameplay of the second level, just a quick kind of overview of like, hey, this is what this game's all about. So definitely worth playing. This is another $20 game. I had an eShop card that I grabbed with Amazon points, so it felt like a free one to me.
Nice.
So it's hard to again, $20 for a downloadable game. I don't want to devalue a game by any means, but I just knowing I can get some great games for $5
right,
or whatever, even when they're not on sale, or some of these games that are on sale, it's like I just sometimes don't always. I'm not super anxious to spend $20, but again, I still can't say I'd be mad about spending that on this. I really, really enjoy this game a lot. It's got the music's nice and upbeat. It's not overly memorable, like catchy tunes in that sense, but it fits it's very similar to like Moonlighter. It just has like it feels very cohesive with the world, and you just feel it helps immerse me in the experience a little bit,
propels you forward type of thing. Not the focus. I feel like I'm escaping from the bullshit that is reality. There you go. That's worth a lot more than $20.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, this game's worth more than I could ever spend on it. So yeah, definitely recommended. Definitely worth checking out if you're into like kind of. It is really tough. It doesn't seem it, but I'm just dying left and right. So like you never feel like, oh, this game's really hard, but I'm just like, man, I have played 25 runs of this second level, and I've only gotten to I've only made it to the boss once.
Jeez.
So the boss battles are pretty cool too, and you can even use the owl to like knock projectiles out of midair, not necessarily to keep your combo going, but to just block them from taking the hit.
Right.
Not for everything, but for some of the projectiles. So yeah, again, I'll be talking more about this game in the future, but really having a lot of fun so far.
Yeah, let me know if you're ever hitting a wall with that game and can't progress, and then I'll be sure to snag it for myself.
You know, real quick too, I guess it does seem like there's a lot, like, you know how like a lot of these games have like kind of like a little template of like cutouts, like in a Zelda game, you know, you have your, like, you can see this is where the ocarina goes and all the medallions you need to collect and this and that. And like after I beat the first level, you get this green feather, lightning feather thing that filled one of the slots, and there are like 16 or 20 other slots. Like, it seems like there are a ton of levels in this game, so I am, if there is much as what I think there is or what it seems like there is, I'm pretty pumped. There are a few little technical glitches I've come across. Like, I had the character get stuck one time kind of like in the wall. I was able to jump out of it, but I did have it like kind of flicker a little bit a couple times. I wasn't able to or there's one of the levels that, like, the second level, every time I play it, like, makes me redo the little tutorial thing at the beginning, and maybe that's the way it's designed. It's just a real quick, like, you kill the 3 enemies and then it shows you how to do that, like, string it through, like, the combo attack with that new lightning ability.
Yeah, but
it does make me do that every time at the beginning of the dungeon, which is sort of annoying. It's real quick. It's like a 5-10 second thing, but a little bit annoying. Hopefully they'll patch some of this stuff out. It looks like, yeah, it looks like they're patching some stuff out. This is a game that was in early access for a long time and just recently came out, you know, officially. But I'm assuming, you know, a lot of these roguelike games have been great, keeping up to date and fixing problems on the Switch. So hopefully they'll follow suit.
Nice.
But yeah, that's all I really have on that for now.
Sounds awesome. A lot of promise there.
Yeah. Anybody else been playing anything?
I guess I could briefly touch on The Witcher 3.
Ooh.
I guess I'm not that far into it. I'm only like level 5, but I guess just another, like, maybe in the air of doing a mindless kind of game.
Get lost in a world type of game.
Yeah. Because I haven't played any of the other Witcher games. Like, I don't know the story going into this, so I've not been super invested in that. But like that, I was going into it with that hope. It's not like they're dropping the ball lore wise or whatever. It's just like, I just want something to play that I can just do a bunch of random quests and, you know, maybe put on a podcast or something and goof around with. So I was a little overwhelmed at first because, like, anytime they introduce any mechanic to you, there's just a ton of menus that pop up and everything. Make me be like, oh man, there's a lot to this game. So that seemed a little intimidating, but when I actually got rolling, like, oh, like this stuff kind of makes like perfect sense. Maybe the menus weren't as big a deal as I had made it out to be. So I'm kind of just starting to find my groove with the game, starting to, you know, get myself more familiar with the combat. I know there may be some complaints I've seen online regarding the combat, but I also think I just suck at it right now. So I'll see what I feel, you know, as I put more time into it. But, you know, I'm definitely, you know, I'm definitely getting out of it what I wanted so far. So
nice.
I know you said you're level 5. Like, how far time wise?
Maybe like 2 hours.
Okay.
Had you played through Skyrim or other games like this before, or is this kind of your first experience with this type of game?
I've played Skyrim and Oblivion, but aside from that, like, those were my only real experiences with these kind of big ass RPGs.
Right. Yeah. I've never played through one, so I was kind of curious.
Yeah. And, you know, Skyrim, I guess, like, the combat was more basic. Like, it feels like there's more that goes into the combat with this game, and I don't know if I met a place that I can properly explain that right now.
Sure.
But like it's almost like it has like some, you know, Dark Souls-esque, I don't even know if that's the right term, but like a lot of like at least the way I'm playing, I'm trying to do like a lot of dodging and watching my stamina and stuff like that. And
it kind of reminded me of like I haven't played a ton of these games, but like, or played The Witcher really either, but just from what I've seen of both, it kind of looked a little like the Assassin's Creed games. Like, not as much of like a swarm of enemies around you, but like you kind of, it does look like they have like people circling around you, and you're kind of rolling around and one enemy at a time. And
it does feel a little bit, just the character feels a little like the Assassin's Creed. Maybe not as fast, but similar feel.
Or like the Batman, like Arkham games, like, again, not as fast, but that same, like, enemies are swarming you. I guess those games you can kind of jump around and cartwheel all over the place, but
I feel like with Assassin's Creed, like with those, when the enemies are circling, they're pretty good of just having one enemy attack at a time. But from what I'm experiencing right now with Witcher, if like I'm confronted with multiple enemies, like I'm fucked. Like, I need to try to lure out, one and keep him away from the rest of the group. And I don't know.
They're not polite enough to take their turn.
I like that, because I feel like that always bothered me in the Assassin's Creed games, because like, even though it makes sense for like gameplay, I guess, it just looks so stupid. Because I guess I never played them. I would always watch our old roommate Steve play, and like
realistically, it makes no sense.
It just would look so stupid. There's like 20 guys surrounding me. They would just kill the shit out of me. But like, instead, they just one at a time get murdered. Just like right on the dock of the bay. So it's just, I don't know. I just couldn't get immersed in those games, which for me, like, especially some of these newer ones, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I forget what the other one is called. It's another O word. Origin or something like that.
Sounds right.
But they, like, one's in like ancient Greece and one's in ancient Egypt. But they look awesome. They get great reviews. But like, remembering how that worked, and like seeing some of I think it was like Assassin's Creed 3 that our roommate was playing. But just remembering that, I was like, I never can pull the trigger on it. But those games still, I hear really good things, and they look beautiful.
Yeah, I've had periods where I've been like, I remember I was like really into 2, and around that time, I don't know, there's certain things that I really like I do like the combat generally. I don't know, I think you can just be a one-man wrecking crew, and it feels good.
You feel like a powerhouse,
and like even some of the exploratory parts are kind of cool. Like, I don't know, the cool vibes, I don't know, like scaling these huge like caverns or stuff like that.
Yeah, the settings are really cool, like, in the mix of history. I mean, maybe not the whole, I don't know how sci-fi they go, but I know they get totally into like you're altering the history or altering the past or whatever, stuff like that.
Going into your ancestors' memories.
But it's cool. It's cool to just be like playing in ancient Greece or ancient Rome, and like hanging out with Leonardo da Vinci. It's kind of cheesy that he's like making apparatuses for you, but it's also kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah, but then there's also like the trailing missions and a lot of cut and paste quests, like side quests over and over again. So, I see both a lot of good and not so good.
Yeah,
I guess. Witcher.
The Witcher Creed. The Witcher 3, which they just announced for the Switch, like some complete edition, and it's out on, I think, every other platform otherwise. So
I think I'm playing on PS4, but I've got the extra like DLC or whatever it is. But they also do a good job being like, hey, you should wait till you're like this level before you attempt this section of the game.
Oh, that's nice of them.
I at least appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like that, because when I got the Breath of the Wild DLC, it was just like the next time I booted the game, it just like went through a checklist of like 20 new things that were added to the game.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Where do I start?
Right. Oh, circling back to more of the Messenger with that Picnic Panic update, one thing I do really like is that they tell you that part of the game is available once you beat the main game. So it's like, okay, like I know when to actually take part in this, and I know clearly how, like, the shopkeeper who's like, really who just tells you what you're supposed to be doing in the game. It's just like, okay, like you use this item to get to this extra content that just got added. It's just like, okay,
that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, but I'll put some more time into Witcher. I'll boot up some podcasts. And while I'm doing it, maybe I'll boot up our own podcast.
There you go.
Well, what about you, Randall? You've been playing anything else this week?
Oh, I'm just more bullshit. If you really want to talk, I know that the folks have been really waiting for me to discuss more NBA 2K19. So,
well, 2K20 I think just got announced.
It did,
or at least I saw some like buzz about that.
Once it gets down to $2.99, maybe I'll buy that one too. But
yeah,
I'm getting my $2.99 worth out of NBA 2K19 for now. Specifically, still the My GM mode where my Detroit Pistons did really terrible in the first season. I think we had a record of maybe we won 30 games out of 82.
What happened?
Jeez, I was going to say you should call it the wishful thinking mode, trying to make the Pistons a good team, but apparently not.
So then as GM, it was on me to go into full rebuild restructure mode. Traded away pretty much all of our superstars except for Blake Griffin because he's my man and he can shoot 3-pointers, but people don't believe that he can shoot 3-pointers, which makes him great.
Can he in the game is the question.
He can, yeah. He's got a pretty decent rating. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically just completely overhauled the roster. Went through the whole draft thing. They simulate the whole draft. Even the order of the draft is a whole spectacle of your record was this bad, so you have a 25% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, and then the balls come out of the thing it's watching the lottery numbers come out back in the 90s. I don't know if they still do that today, but it's like that where you have a certain amount of balls in there for a percentage, and you have a chance to get the top overall pick. I only got the 2nd overall pick, but that still let me get a point guard that helped me rebuild my squad. So basically just picked a bunch of scrubs off of free agency and made them work on my team, reduced my payroll, traded away a bunch of my superstars for draft picks, and turned those into playmakers, those draft picks, just kind of put together some packages to get some better players that better fit my scheme, because I always go for defensive players that can also shoot threes and, drive to the basket. So I got a whole bunch of dudes that can do that. And now we're on a super winning streak. I think my overall record so far in this second season is 14-2. So
okay, nice.
Things are going well.
Are you also playing the games yourself?
I am. Yeah. I think part of the problem too in the last season is I got into a 5-game losing streak and I was just fuck it. Let's start simulating some games. And then it really went downhill.
Yeah. Okay. How long? Go ahead.
No, okay, let's really go into rebuild, because this just isn't going to happen with the way this team is currently structured. So,
yeah, I was going to ask, how long does it take to play a game? I know, when I used to play Madden and stuff with my brother, which I've talked about too, with the 5-minute quarters and stuff, you just breeze through games, but yet you still have higher scoring games than a full length, pro NFL game, or same thing with the basketball games too.
Yeah.
But how long does a game play, or at least in the standard settings? I know you can change all that stuff.
Yeah, default settings, which is what I kept, is it says it's 6-minute quarters, but it goes a little bit faster than that, I would say. Okay. 4 quarters in a game. So yeah, probably average game might take me 15 minutes, especially now because you can ticky-tack every bit of minutia about your team. I'll go in and tell the coach to make the rotations to the minute of make sure Blake Griffin gets 32 minutes out of 48 minutes per game. Make sure this guy, I want to build him up because I just drafted him, but he doesn't have the stamina to play a full 48. Make sure he plays 20 minutes. I know he's not as good. He'll come off the bench. That's fine. So then the coach will do auto substitutions, which speeds the game up while I'm playing it. So I only have to focus on playing the game, and everything else kind of happens for me. The timeouts are automatically called. The substitutions are automatically done based on who's hot, who's cold, who's tired. So that kind of works too, to kind of grind through games pretty quickly.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I got to mess around with that. I still have it. I know I just played the little tutorial section in an exhibition game or two, and just got my ass kicked. I can't make a shot. I Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, I think I made one shot in the game. Like, I'm missing layups. I'm missing like, it is so hard to get that timing down.
It is, and every player has a different timing and a different animation.
Oh, well, okay. Well, this is news to me. Okay,
yes.
That's good to know.
Yes, it is, but it's
just like you get that. That's kind of cool though, because like that, you know, when you're playing these games, you like me and my brother played a lot of these old, like especially the EA sports games. We tended to get the most.
Yeah.
And we would just get so good at them at a point, at least at like playing the seasons and stuff, like playing against the computer on any difficulty. I mean, I don't think we ever cranked it up to like the max, but like, you know, it was just a walk in the park. It wasn't even, again, it was just a play for that mindless experience. I just want to kind of mow down some teams.
Of course.
I just want to win.
Yes.
You know, I want to be good at something.
Yes.
So that was a lot of the case. So it's kind of cool to hear that, like, or to throw a wrench in that, like, because you would just get the timing of a shot down, and once you had that down, you're not going to lose. You know,
right?
So again, at least against the computer.
Whereas this, you have to be a little bit more active to try and run plays, to get open. You kind of have to know in the moment, like, okay, this guy's been out here for a while, so his energy is only at 70 out of 100, and he's got a really good defender on him. And so even if he's a good shot, his percentage of hitting this shot, if I time this shot meter correctly, like perfectly, you know, I might only have a 50-50 shot of hitting a bucket with this guy in that circumstance. You know, versus if I run a play, get a guy that's good at driving to the net, give him the ball, let him do his thing, even if he's not the best player on the court. Better things are often going to happen that way. So, like, I put a focus on less focus on individual superstars being out there the whole time, and more focus on, like, let's go deep into the roster to have everybody like refreshed and use more folks, and that gets the team morale up, and it gets more players involved, and it gets their ratings to go up game over game as well. So
they build stats like RPG style, like so the players will get more stamina.
Yep.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay,
and you can even have like
this
veteran players mentor like the rookies, which is what I'm doing. Like my guy I just drafted is a point guard, but he's rough around the edges in a lot of ways, even as the second overall pick. So I have one of the veterans mentor my dude Eric Ware, and now he's getting better as like a defensive stopper as the point guard, and getting better at 3-point shots, and so like. It just kind of builds over time, and now he's got more confidence, and he's, you know, able to stay out on the court longer. So I like that. Yeah, building a little storyline around the experience, you know, getting you a little more immersed in the experience. I guess storyline experience. And the whole time, like the owners pull him in the office to say, like, hey, you know, you've won 8 games in a row, like try to win 10 games in a row, or keep morale up, or let's cut payroll, or let's get a extra draft pick, do what you got to do to get another first round draft pick this season. And then like sometimes the other assistant coaches will come in and be like, hey, you know, I don't feel like I'm as valued here. Let's talk about things and discuss strategy. So there's a lot there. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I'm gonna dig into that maybe this week. Probably not, because I got to get on that Bloodstained Curse of the Moon at some point. There you go, our game of the month. But yeah, I definitely need to play a little more NBA 2K. I'll keep talking about it if you guys keep making me talk about it. I'll keep talking about it. It seems to be inevitable, so we'll keep tabs. We'll keep tabs as the season rolls on. Yeah, or as the seasons progress. Yeah, I should say it doesn't matter because the Pistons are going to win this year. You know, let me know when you face LeBron. Tell me what happens. I know. Yeah, that'll be the buzzsaw I run into. We'll see what LBJ. Happens. You got to watch out for LBJ. He's going to get you. My ass. He's going to get you. He got JFK, and now he's going to get you on the basketball court. RHK. But I think if you guys are feeling good, I think we can wrap it up there this week. Feeling great for wrap it. Cool. But yeah, so again, just a quick reminder, the game of the month this month is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. That's like the 8-bit NES style Castlevania throwback inspired, whatever you want to call it. Not the new Ritual of the Night, although we are going to bring our buddy John onto the podcast that week. And he has been playing a bunch of Ritual of the Night, so nice. He'll be talking about that a little bit, I would imagine.
And he's also, not to put too much pressure on you, Randall, but he's been texting me about Dragon Quest Builders 2 as well. And I know you played a lot of the first one, and he has as well.
Okay.
But that's something we can maybe, I know you said you snagged that, right?
I did snag that.
Cool. So no pressure, but I think I invited him to talk about that as well.
All right.
Told him he's welcome to if he wants to. So
you three can have a nice private conversation without me.
I've never played it either. He's just shown me a little bit. I don't think it speaks to me too much. It's kind of like JRPG Minecraft, but
don't judge it.
Well, it looks cool. It just doesn't look for me. It looks interesting to people that aren't me. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up there, and we'll be doing that episode will technically end up coming out in August, right at the beginning of August, but it's our game of the month for July.
That's right.
Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. But otherwise, this has been Pursuing Pixels, episode 11. And yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and have a good week. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Let me let this plane go over real quick. Kind of loud.
I don't know if you can pick it up on.
Well, I feel like I'm hearing it like loud in the headphones. Are you hearing it at all, Randy?
I don't think so.
Okay, if you're not really hearing it, then it can't be that bad.
Surprised you wouldn't go by Uncle Stiltskin. Just throwing that out there. I don't know why. Just a thought.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Continue.
Great.
Continue.
Oh, man. Now we're never going to get started.